Hey kneeboard fans, I'm Ted Bevelacqua, designer and innovator of Pro Aqua Binding kneeboard products. I'd like to introduce to you one of our high energy kneeboarding tapes, Get Radical. It's a tape designed and directed for the intermediate kneeboarder, not the beginner nor the highly advanced. I want to show you various techniques and skills that will make you a better kneeboarder so you can pull off those radical stunts. I'd like to start out with rope control. Rope movement is the most important thing in kneeboarding. This is the key to getting your balance in kneeboarding. Now, what I mean by rope movement is moving the handle around to gain your balance. This is the center of gravity. This is the center of balance. This is where you want to move the rope around to regain your balance. If you go tossed off the wake and you're out of control, off balance, don't let go with one hand. Move the rope around this center of balance, center of gravity, to regain your balance. Now that brings me into how to hold the handle. There's two ways of holding the handle. Palms down and the baseball grip. Now the baseball grip is your power grip. This is the grip that you're going to use for your flips, your heavy duty tricks, your heavy duty slalom cuts. That's the kind of grip you want. It's power grip. Now the other grip is the palms down. This is for your turning, your tricks where you're turning your body. Now there's another thing I got to stress. The handle is always going to be in the center of gravity. It's always going to be around here. Now notice this, your wrist spins, it twists every time the rope handle goes from the front of your body to the back of your body. I'll show you in a wrap 360. Let's say you're doing a helicopter off the wake. I'm in a wrap position, half wrap. Watch my wrist as I go through the 360-degree turn. If you notice, it twists. It has to twist. It's something you have to keep in mind when you're going through this, because without that twist of the wrist, you will not be able to keep the handle around the center of gravity. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep that handle the center of gravity all the time. Now I'd like to go into pop. There's three ingredients to a pop. One, the body pop, the body lift from the waist up. Two, pulling in on the rope. And three, hitting the board flat against the wake. Now these three things, all done at the same time, will lift you up in the air. Hitting the board flat against the wake, pulling in with the rope, and popping with the upper part of your body. All three of those will send you up in the air. Now there's a little modification to hit the board flat against the wake. I call this a pre-pop. It's a modification of the hitting the wake flat. You cut hard toward the wake. You flatten up sooner and you lift yourself up. You kind of make yourself weightless. And then you come down on the wake harder. This is a modification of hitting the board flat against the wake. You hit it flatter, harder, you get much more energy, and this will get you up in the air much higher. You put that against, you get that with, you're pulling the rope and the body pop and the hit the flat on the wake, and it gets you higher, much higher up in the air. This will give you a strong pop. Slalom techniques, cutting techniques. Don't think cutting on a kneeboard is like cutting with a water ski. A slalom water ski cuts through the water much differently than a kneeboard. A slalom water ski will go slicing through, cutting through the water, where a kneeboard uses its rails, a side-to-side motion, to get direction. You use your rails to cut on a kneeboard. Now wraps. Wraps do a 360, let's say a 360 off the wake. The safest and easiest way is tug on the rope, and when you have slack, grab the rope behind you. Now let's say where you are is the wake. This is called an inside wrap. It's when the rope is between the rider and the wake. Now I suggest this wrap because it gives you the maximum rotation when you hit the wake. This is an outside wrap. This is when the rope is on the other side of the body away from the wake. Try both the inside and outside wrap and use the one that's most comfortable for you. Once you are in the wrap position, There's several things you have to keep in mind before you hit the wake and execute your 360. One is pop first. You have to pop first. Two, turn your head in the direction you were going to go. Wherever your head goes, your body will follow. And three, try to keep everything tight. Your arms, hands, try to keep them close to your body. That includes the rope handle. The barrel roll is the simplest flip there is. The reason why, because you have tension on the rope. That's the key. That's the key to control. Tension on the rope, using the rope. Now a backflip, which we're not going to go into this video because a backflip is the hardest flip there is. The reason why is a backflip, you go up, over, and you have to clear the tip of the board to come around. That's what makes it the hardest flip there is. Now a roll is a backwards motion, but you're banking away from the rope, so you have tension. So when you're upside down, you have something to work with. You have something to pull yourself down. So you're up here and you pull on the rope and it brings you back down. Now notice, you don't have to clear the tip of the board. You're coming down tail heavy. That's why it's the simplest flip, and it really isn't hard to pull off. I'm going to go over the dynamics of a roll. Well, number one, pop first. Pop always comes first in any kind of wake trick. You have to pop off the wake first. 3 key ingredients, I'll go through that again. Pulling on the rope, body pop, and hitting the board flat against the wake. So number one, pop first and throw it not directly over the rope, but to the side, out, away from the rope. Think of pulling on the rope, getting tension. So when you're upside down, you have something to pull yourself back on your board. Now, when you throw it, you want to look over your shoulder because you're not going straight back. You're actually doing a side-to-side flip. So when you're upside down, look over your shoulder. You're pulling yourself down to the landing. You're watching the landing. You're seeing it happen. The first few times, don't worry if your eyes slam shut because that's natural. But look over your shoulder. Bank the board out. Don't go directly over the handle. Bank it out to the side. It's a side-to-side flip. Point the tip toward the boat. Second flip I'd like to go into is the forward roll or the reverse of the barrel roll. Now, the one thing to keep in mind with the forward roll or the reverse is momentum. Momentum is the key to this flip. It takes a lot of energy. You have to go out wide and speed toward the wake. You have to have a lot of speed. Now, leading with the rope, you're going to have your arms almost extended. So once you lift off the wake, you want to pull in the rope. This is going to help you whip the board around to land on it. Now the forward flip, the forward somersault. Now, many people think the forward somersault is impossible, but actually, it is one of the easiest flips there is. Use the whole wake for a forward flip. The pre-pop is a very important technique to use. Since your rotation comes from this pop, pop hard and thrust your body upwards and forwards. Keep it tucked throughout the whole flip. You will feel a second pull for your landing. You will feel this second pull for your landing halfway through your forward flip. I like to go into the hot dog stuff. The real radical stuff. You go out there, this is when you want to go out there and just show off. This stuff is great. I'd like to start out with the mule-kick. Now, the mule-kick is a trick that you don't just go out there and do. It's a progressive trick that takes time. It comes in steps. To start off to learn this trick, jump the wake and try to turn the tip and then turn it back before you're landing. And every time you go over the wake, do a little more and try a little more until you can actually jump the wake, point the tip all the way around, and then turn the board and face where you're going to land again. And just keep going until you can actually go backwards and then land it going in the forward position before you hit the water and land. Then start dipping the nose. And this will take a lot of practice. It'll take over and over and over again. It's a progressive trick that's gonna happen in time. So keep practicing, turning your tip, turning your tip, turning your tip, until finally you'll feel comfortable of turning, twisting your body, and you know where the pull is to bring yourself around. Remember, tension on the rope, that's where your control is. So keep practicing that until finally dip the nose and start dipping it more and more until one of these days somebody's going to be in the boat with a camera and they're going to take a picture of you and you're going to be all laid out in a full mule kick and you'll go, yeah. Now the surface roll. You go into your surface roll on the cut outward and you'll be rolling to the outside. Now there's a couple things you want to keep in mind for a surface roll. One is how you attack it. Now you go into a surface roll, you want to get onto the water softly. You want to let it down softly. And how you do this is you let your arms out so you can softly come down on your butt. Now your butt is where you're aiming for. So when you come around, you're on your lower back. And once you're on your lower back, you're going to go through an L-shaped pull toward the opposite hip. We'll be showing you a surface roll right. So it will be a pull straight down the body to the left hip. So go out there and get radical, because it's going to be fun. Yeah. I'd like to talk to you about rope length and speed of the boat. Now, everyone has their preferences of rope length and speed, but I'm telling you a good start would be at 47 feet at 20 miles an hour. I didn't just get on a kneeboard and start flipping. All those tricks you've seen, those didn't come just from one day. I had a mental block when I first got into this. I would go out there and I said, yes, I want to learn this. I want to go out there and flip. I'd go out there on the side of the wake, I'd look at the wake, I'd cut in hard, I'd say, yes, Ted, this is it. I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I'd hit the wake, I'd go flying in the air, and bango, my body would freeze. I couldn't do it. I had a mental block. So I'd like to introduce to you Redi. Redi taught me to go upside down. He got me that mental block erased from my head. This is Redi, a miniature kneeboarder made out of plastic. I made Redi several years ago. And with this miniature kneeboarder, I went through all the moves, going upside down, spinning around. I went over and over and over on land, on my knee, going through it, hours and hours, till finally I convinced my brain to let my body go upside down. And after I passed that mental block, I learned, I concentrated, and now I'm doing all these things that I'm doing because I'm past that mental block. So if you have a mental block, get a little kneeboarder, make one out of plastic, make it out of balsa wood, just make one and get over that mental block, because after you get over it, you'll excel tremendously. Learning to love to crash. You have to love to crash. You love to eat it to progress, because if you don't crash, you're not learning anything. Bob, what time is it?
It's 2:30.
No, seriously, really, what time is it?
It's
What's
2:30.
No, really. Throw me my watch. Oh no. Don's gonna kill me. I gotta go.
alone. Wind in the hair and the sun shining down. To the trying not to stare. She looked at me and I knew we were there. She's looking so good, just like I knew she would. She's looking so fine, and she's mine. And now it's all coming back to me, things that we did and the places we've seen. But I want to go back in time, change all the things that I knew were right. But I know that it's all in vain. This is the now, it's the name of the game. I flipped my eyes and I'm back with her. She read my mind because she heard every word. She's looking so good, just like I knew she would. She's looking so fine, and she's all mine. Wow, she's all yes, she was standing all alone. Wind in her hair and the sun shining down. Walked up to her, trying not to stare. She looked at me and I knew we were there. She's looking so good, just like I knew she would. She's looking so fine. She's all mine. Whoa, she's all
Remember, you gotta love to crash.